Tim Black.
When the Voting Rights Act was passed, the whole point was to right a wrong. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said that it was a victory for Black America, but it would enrich the lives of all Americans. So this is a devastating blow. That being said, Rev, it is in many ways predictable. And as Black people, we have pattern recognition here. The Trump administration and their hostilities and their anti-Black agenda have been unrelenting and coordinated in their attacks on Black workers, on Black bodies, on Black voters, on Black power, Black progress. So this has always been about degrading our democracy and disenfranchising the most marginalized, because we are the supermajority, and that bothers them. But Black folks are going to do what we've always done, what Bob Moses did, what Fannie Lou Hamer did. We're going to litigate, legislate, agitate, organize, and mobilize for our full rights and citizenship.
Full of shit.
Representative Ayanna Pressley there went on a tangent in all the ways that she says that the Trump administration is anti-Black. And I'm trying to figure out, she didn't say how it was anti-Black. She just says it's anti-Black. I'm trying to figure this out, fam. And this is what I'm hoping that people can realize. Walk with me on this, fam. Let's do some deductive reasoning. Did Black America, I don't know, fam. Do you have a G-Wagon parked outside? I'm asking, did you have a G-Wagon parked outside? Biden was just president. He was a whole Democrat. It was him, it was Kamala. That strong Black woman in there as vice president. They had the House, the Senate, everything for a couple years, like 16 months or something. I'm trying to figure out, family, where was my G-Wagon? Where's my summer home? Where was my full bank account? Where was all this Black support? All this Black thing, Black everything Black. Where was all the Black luxury wealth building? The Black success that should have been bouncing off the walls. Where was all that? Trying to figure it out. Because we just had a Democrat in there. See, when they set up their benchmarks and they say, oh, Trump's in office, he anti-Black. Okay, when he wasn't in office, he only been in politics 10 years. There are Black people watching this broadcast whose family's been struggling the past 30 years. And there's been Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. I mean, under both administrations, under both parties. Under both parties, we got people that are watching this show who've seen their families struggle under both parties. I'm trying to figure it out because you just said that it's anti-Black under Republicans. What I'm telling you is anti-Black under any of these industries. I mean, under either one of these parties. And that's not the sole basis of what we need to fix. See, that's just got us focused on the wrong things. Yeah, focus on this party mess when we need to focus on the policies. When she says Trump has an anti-Black agenda, if you had to nail her down and she would respond to a question, she'd probably say because he got rid of DEI. He got rid of critical race theory in colleges. Family, I don't know who you are. I don't know exactly who's watching right now, but I can tell you this. Them getting rid of CRT training did not take food off your table. DEI, if you're a Black man or a Black woman, more than likely, because most DEI jobs are occupied by white women. And most of those white women hired other white women. So I don't know what you're talking about that. That's not what made it harder for you to find a house, to afford a down payment, to be able to buy insurance, to get a good trade-in on your vehicle, to get an interest rate that wasn't killing you, to be able to put your kids through school. Affirmative action benefited mostly white women. So these things that you keep telling me of these things going away had become so detrimental to black people, family, they were never so supportive or helpful for black people. Because we had them. They were here. And we were not winning with those things being in place. We have no working class party, fam. Meaning, if you don't have a trust account, you ain't got nobody looking out for you. Okay? That's just how this works. Let me give you a reality check. There are no working class parties. The two major parties are not working class parties. They just aren't. We got one party with two different names. One party, two names for the party. Okay? That's it. You call it Republican, you can call it Democrat. I call it the same anti-black, anti-worker, pro-war BS. Okay? That's what we got. So they keep talking about the voting rights. We're going to get more into the voting rights issue because we got a clip with Roland coming up. But let me say this, fam, for my people out there who need to hear this. Voting rights. There was no way MLK and others who were pushing for the Voting Rights Amendment, 1964, it was no way for them to be able to see through time and see that we're going to get a bunch of sellout, token-ass black folks elected to office who were going to do little more than secure their own success and very little for the masses. There was no way to know that. These are the points that they forget mentioning when they're doing their talking points. Yeah, see, once upon a time, black people, there was something called social destruction. Yeah, once upon a time in the 60s, fam, to be called a sellout was a major problem for your career. And we didn't have an allegiance to the Democratic Party. We had allegiance to black people. Black American was the party. It was being black, and we were unified around the concept of blackness. Most of it, fam, via necessity. Okay? That's why Black Wall Street existed. Necessity. Segregation created a form of necessity for us to work together, to stick together, to survive. Things have changed. Things changed dramatically in the 80s. As assimilation occurred, more black Americans started going for self. In fact, they called the 80s the me generation. Not just for black Americans, it was for all of America. The movie Wall Street was part of it. They always pointed back to that. The me generation under Ronald Reagan. That was a bunch of white people that were like all about getting their money right, and they didn't care who they hurt in the process. As we were able to assimilate into society, we began to adopt the same mentalities. And as opportunities came for black folks, they came with better lifestyles, living in white neighborhoods, but they also came with more of adopting the prevailing culture, which is get yours. Get yours and bump the rest. Now this is commentary, because this is a commentary show. I don't just report the news. I'm a commentary channel. I'm giving you my commentary. So this is what happened. So when they talk about the voting rights and about how black people died to vote, then that was under a different idea. If you think there's Medgar Evers or Fannie Lou Hamer, any black leader, any black civil rights activist, you think them black kids and them black men and women who took the slings and arrows, the baseball bats, the bricks, the dogs, the water hoses, you think they did that so Clyburn could hold a fish fry every June while he count millions? You think they did that so Maxine Waters could live in that big house while her constituents, her black constituents, suffer? I only picked two. There's a lot more that I can name. No, that's not why they did it. So when they talk about the Voting Rights Act, they're omitting so much about what that was. That was a different time for a different group of black people, where black people acted a different way, where our entertainers who were successful put money back into civil rights, like Harry Belafonte and others, because we were focused on an agenda that included us. We were more together, unified via necessity. So something happens when people get upward mobility away from the group. They become unlike the group. They become individualistic. None of the people that they're highlighting, none of the people that Ayanna Pressley and she remarks of this time with voting rights, man, miss me with that, Representative Pressley. You're doing really well. Good for you. Let's not lie to people. Let's not gaslight people into this fallacy that people died so that you could drive a G-Wagon, so that y'all could go to parties and hobnob and go to the BET Awards. Let's cut the cap. That ain't what this has been about. That's not what people died for. Nobody get lynched for that shit. Last words they heard was being called the N-word by a mob of angry whites with red with blood in their eyes and filth on their tongues. Now, nobody gave their life for that. These Democrats up here operating with impunity, lying and denying and gaslighting and using the death of black people that meant well, who were fighting for substantive change in the country that sorely needed it beyond where we are today. But even more importantly than that, they could not see what we have today. And I believe that this is just my opinion, fam, but I strongly believe if those people could jump into a time machine and come here today, they would be appalled at all that we have and all little that we do with it, in the actions of our so-called leaders, as we have the Congressional Black Caucus doing nothing, the Do Nothing Congressional Black Caucus, leaning back and falling back on blackness while they do nothing substantive for black folks. Most of their advocacy is for the LGBTQ, Hispanic Americans, and white women. Make that shit make sense. Make it make sense. And all black has become is a placeholder, is a pawn that they can use to help other groups get ahead while we stay stagnant. Man, let me know what y'all think in the comment section below about this segment. I think it's an important segment. I get so tired of them using our past, using black people meaning well, fighting for the rights that we sorely needed, knowing where we are now and knowing how these people are not, this is not the same thing. Jasmine Crockett having the ability to put out an ad because Trump called her a low IQ. That ain't what we died for. Since you and Roland could drop F-bombs. And speaking of Roland, let's go to Roland. I can stay here all day. Let's move it on. Let's move on. All right, guys, I'm looking for you to hit the like button, share the content on your social media. Let's raise the roof. Let's do it, Johnson. Someone said, Tim Black, what does Johnson mean? It just means people. When I'm doing these shows, when I'm up here talking, fam, I needed a way to unite everybody together. So about 6 years ago, way before the show Johnson's came out, I start calling everybody Johnson. Go look at my store, Johnson. We are all Johnson. Johnson is Johnson, and we're all the Johnsons. Because people's screen names, I couldn't tell if they were men or women. Everybody's a Johnson. And somehow, some people found out what I was saying and said, "Oh, we gonna make a show. He didn't patent it. Let's steal it." But that's what it was. I created this way of communicating within my community, within my audience, the Wolfpack community. And that's why if you go to timblackpause.com, you'll see my gear dating back to 2019, 2018. We're all Johnsons, independent media Johnson. It's all there. So Johnson is another way of saying my brother, my sister, family, homie, partner, crew, same thing. And with that, let's keep it moving, Johnson. Next. Yeah, I know some of y'all wonder why you keep saying Johnson. What that mean, Tim Black?
The most marginalized, because we are the supermajority, and that bothers them. But Black folks are going to do what we've always done, what Bob Moses did, what Fannie Lou Hamer did. We're going to litigate, legislate, agitate, organize, and mobilize for our full rights and citizenship.
Full of shit.